This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News, News Free Dixie for the 21st century.
Hey, Brother Chad, you there?
Yes.
All right, well, We All Be is under the help on the one and only Brother Chad Josiah of the Chad Factor internet radio show. He's going to weigh in on the current events and also talk to our audience about who he is and what he's about and some other things. How you doing today, sir?
Doing fine, sir. Enjoying this beautiful sunny day after Christmas, and it's almost New Year's, so I can't wait.
Well, it's almost New Year's, but a lot of old business we got to talk about today. It's a lot of things been happening. It's not this last week in 2016. It's about 3 weeks in one or a month in one. I just want to get your take on some of the things. First of all, can you tell the people a little bit about what you do and your radio show?
Pretty much, my name is Chad Josiah, or the Chad Factor, and I am a radio show host. I talk about different issues of racism, politics, the world around us, foreign policy. I tend to think of myself as a men's rights activist to a point. I am still pro-family, but I am still for men's rights. And that's really about myself so far.
That's excellent. And how can we listen to your program?
You can go on. I have a new website called thechadfactor.com. You can go on there to go on my blog. I have a blog on there. I have an opinion on there right now. I just created last week. But you can go on there to chadfactorwordpress.com to directly link to my show, or you can go on talkshoe.com, put in the search engine Chad Factor, and you should be able to find me.
That's excellent.
Or tweet or follow me on Twitter.
Okay, what's your handle on Twitter?
The Chad Factor.
Oh, the Chad Factor. I love it. And it's so much going on, man. I know you got a unique perspective on things that's happening, especially with, I guess, the functions or dysfunction of black leadership. And we know over the last couple of weeks we had the issue with Tariq Nasheed versus Tommy Sotomayor. And now this recent thing with Papa Smurf versus King Kong, or General Sudansetti versus Dr. Umar Johnson. And they got a showdown in Motown tomorrow on Friday, December 30th, supposedly. Dr. Umar Johnson issued a challenge to General Setti to a debate about, I guess, the functions of black leadership and what has he done lately for black people. And so I want to get your take on what's happening right now in the so-called black conscious community with the leadership shakeup. What's your thoughts about it?
The conscious community is dead, and you need to leave. That's pretty much my perspective on that, because back in the 50s, 60s, and 40s, we had the Nation of Islam, we had Martin Luther King, we had the Civil Rights Movement, and even though there was a lot of disagreements, and even though there were confrontations, there was some name calling here and there, but I don't think that they would indulge in beefs like rappers do. This is rapper crap. This is real, N-word crap. That's what people would call that. You would never hear Malcolm X and Martin Luther King even utter that word, or even say the B word, bitch, and call each other out about the woman that they were with, or anything of that nature. So what I'm saying is that we need to basically stop looking for leaders and start following each other. Because if we keep trying to find a Messiah, we're going to keep being in the same spot that we've always been at.
That's an interesting point. I know there's some people out there that agree with you on that, but is it our fault that we put these people on such a high pedestal to begin with?
Yes, because, we should always listen to what other people have to say, and if they're saying something great or doing something great, acknowledge what they've done. But we can't just say everything they say is right, or everything they say is just the greatest thing on earth. They might be right on a few points, but we don't worship them or worship them like idols. That's all I'm saying. They're just people like you and me.
Right. So you think that Dr. Umar Johnson does not have a right to defend himself, even though it might be in a vulgar or some people might think unprofessional or unapologetic way?
He has a right to freedom of speech in this country. He can say whatever he wants. He can indulge in however he wants. But I'm just saying that if you're trying to be the prince of Pan Africanism and you're trying to show the world how you are, how you talk, a lot of people are going to look down at the movement by how you and SETI acted. And let's not negate that SETI did start this whole exchange, but there was a way that he could have responded much better than how he responded.
Yeah, devil is like it's not just this one incident. Like I said, I talked about recently, Tariq Nasheed versus Tommy Sotomayor, as well as you brought up General Seti and Young Pharaoh in New York recently at the House of Consciousness. Whatever went down with that. So what do you feel is going on right now with these people? I mean, even with the Tommy Sotomayor and Tariq Nasheed situation, what is your take on that?
Well, I mean, to me, now that I'm looking at this, like I think it could have been manufactured by both of them to generate some news. Because I mean, I've never seen Vlad do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It could be an act. It could all be so we can focus. That's what it could be. But I mean, on this note, Tariq looked emotional. Tariq basically, proved that Tommy is not as much of a spec on his career like he said he was. Because if Tommy is so insignificant, why are you interrupting him and trying to give him a coon trail?
Now, this is an interesting point. I want to ask you this too, because Tariq Nasheed, he became very popular and well known in the conscious community for his, his pretty good, outstanding Hidden Color documentary series. Got 4 so far. And then you look at Dr. Umar Johnson was featured in the first Hidden Colors and some of the other Hidden Colors, and some of the work he has been doing, trying to raise money for his Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey school. Traveling on 6 continents, speaking about Pan Africanism and Black empowerment. Does these recent actions by both men tarnish their brand in the long run?
I think it tarnishes both their brand, but I think Tariq's brand has been tarnished when he started calling Tommy crispy and saying that he is a crispy tart and saying all this about his skin color. And then basically and then Tommy did give some threats to him. He basically described about how he was going to go after Tariq if Tariq was going to go after his career. So, I mean, Tariq did start that. But, I mean, what I'm saying is that you cannot be pro-black and call another black person crispy tar, no matter how much you hate him or despise him. And, you can't say, white people just treat me great, in one of your podcasts. So I mean, on that note, and with Umar Johnson, I did like the idea of the school. I supported the idea. I supported him. I loved his videos. I loved Umar Johnson going at the LGBT community for their bull crap. I do like him going after feminism. So there are many aspects I do respect. But to me, it tarnishes his brand to say this because he's supposed to be the prince of Pan-Africanism, cursing, yelling, acting emotional. So I believe that both of their brands are tarnished, more so on Tariq's side.
I mean, can we mistake sometimes emotionalism for passion or passion for emotionalism? Like, is it wrong to be passionate about your viewpoint or point of view?
Absolutely not, but there's a way you can be passionate. You can be passionate without being emotional or swinging your arms up or calling yourself King Kong. So.
But I know some people think of, like, I know I had thoughts of thinking that the black conscious community is a new black church. Like, you talk about emotionalism, like, it's like us as black people, we want every experience to be a feel-good church experience, a spiritual experience. Like, we're very spiritual people, and, we're also very emotional people. We're very expressive people, demonstrative people. We demonstrate a lot of how we feel. So, is there something bad with being emotional? If it's our nature to be emotional?
I'm saying you can be emotional if it's really something that crazy or that sad or that bad. But I'm just saying that you can do that. But I mean, every little confrontation or every little conversation, You know, people don't know how to handle disagreements or handle confrontations. I mean, I've had people curse me out and do certain things to me, but I mean, I know how to handle myself and know how to defend myself. You know, I'm not going to use emotion. I'm just going to use facts. But if they try to attack me, of course I'm going to fight back physically and mentally. But I'm just saying that there is a way that we can be think right and know how to handle ourselves without being emotional into it. That's all I'm saying.
And I would say also that my opinion, that's based on what I research and whatnot, I believe that beefing is normal among so-called black leadership. It's normal. You got cases of that throughout history. Even you look at the Booker T. Washington versus W.E.B. Du Bois situation at the turn of the 20th century, or even a situation where Booker T. Washington spoke in Boston back in the early 1900s, and his lecture or his speech was interrupted by William Monroe Trotter, the first black Phi Beta Kappa of Harvard, and a rival Du Bois who started the Guardian newspaper up in Boston. He disrupted Booker T. Washington's speech and talked about his daughter and stuff like that. This is the early 1900s, or you had situations with Marcus Garvey and Du Bois went at it. And one was talking about, each talking about how they look, their skin color, their appearances. And even Malcolm X was known to call people Uncle Toms and whatnot. And Muhammad Ali, how he portrayed Frazier as a gorilla for the Thriller in Manila. So why is it now? I mean, we just didn't have the technology and social media. Even Huey Newton and Eldridge Cleaver went at it over leadership for the Panther Party. So this is normal to me. Why are people making a big deal about these folks beefing? This is normal.
It's everything you just said is terrible and bad, but it's still worse to call each other the N-word, or to say that, or I'm going to beat you up, or I'm going to fight you or kill you. But all of what you said is bad. There shouldn't be any beef.
Right.
There should be just disagreements and discussions. So you're absolutely right. I don't know how we basically try to handle this, but I mean, we can't even have reasonable discussions and have a talk about certain things. Then that's the reason why we keep getting the same damn issues, because we keep doing this crap.
So should people give up hope on the Black conscious community? I mean, you said it was dead, correct? So we should give up?
Yes.
So what should we do?
Make our own platforms and go our own way. Whether you want to be a liberal, whether you want to be conservative, whether you want to be a libertarian, whether you want to be anywhere else. I mean, just think about the interest of Black people in America as well. But I mean, if you cannot be in this function or take it, then just get out, because build with people outside and see how that comes, and give them some information and see how they respond to it. They don't respond well. But if they disagree with you, you can still work with them. Because what I'm noticing is you can build better with people who don't know, Francis Cress Welsing or in history better than people who actually know the history and the facts. And that's the saddest thing of all.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, knowledge is the currency of the universe, I always say. And like Baba Dick Gregory would say, information is power, bad information is bad power, good information is good power. So my thing is, like, it's so important right now for us to get the information out there, to disseminate this information. And my concern is, I call it not the zeitgeist, but the Trumpgeist, that we need a strong Black media presence to counter the alternative right media message. We need an alternate or alt-Black media right now. So what is your thoughts about that? You being a person who's a journalist and a media personality.
I think we do. I think we do need an alternate Black media, but I think we need Black people who have different thoughts, whether they're liberal, whether they're socialist, whether they're conservative, whether they're lean left or right, or just nothing at all. I think all thoughts need to be viewed as a point, but I don't think there should be a dominant monolithic think in the Black community. That's what I think we have to work on as well, that there's a monolithic think, and that's the biggest problem.
I agree. I don't believe it should be monolithic at all either. It should be some solidarity in terms of we do need a Black media network, a strong network of Black media institutions and personalities to create a counter narrative to what we're seeing in the news right now. So I definitely agree with you with that. But how do we go about doing that? Especially that we know we got egos. Like you look at what's going on with the Black conscious community leadership. It's a lot of ego and impostering going on. A lot of rhetoric with no results.
I would just say build your own media and see what the other people look at what the alt-right's doing. Look at what the Young Turks are doing. Look at what a lot of YouTubers are doing, how to use their media platform and what they do, and basically learn from it. Learn from how even Donald Trump basically had to make his own media to combat the mainstream media.
Right. And
learn. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm listening. I'm going to, you said Donald Trump. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, learn from what Donald Trump did. Learn from what other people did to how they combated the mainstream media and how they ultimately won the election, or not just him, or basically set their own precedent and set their own platform. Learn from the Tommy Sotomayor. Learn on how they were independent on their own.
Yeah, also interesting with Donald Trump, people don't understand is that one of his major media advisors, besides Steve Bannon of the Breitbart, website and news organization, was Roger Ailes, the guy who created Fox News Network. That was like his white folk whisperer right there. He was the one that helped Donald Trump stay on message with the Clinton Foundation and Benghazi and the email and all that stuff. So Roger Ailes was one of Donald Trump's secret weapons, and also his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, owns the New York Observer, a very important elite media organization in New York, and he was Donald Trump's social media campaign manager.
Right.
So I mean, Donald.
You should also have. Yeah, you should also have great connections as well. If you can make any good connections, and use to your advantage, do that as well. But I mean, he still had to go against the entire mainstream media, the whole world apparatus. So.
And also, he had experience with his reality TV show, The Apprentice, but he understood how the media worked, how the media infrastructure worked. So we got to have a thorough it's like with Black folks right now. A lot of us don't have an understanding of civics because they don't teach civics in the classroom no more. So we don't even understand how the system really works. And what Donald Trump did in his election, that he exposed the Wizard of Oz. He exposed the person behind the curtain. For better or for worse, people got a crash course and learning how things were quote unquote rigged.
Yep. And basically taught us that it's a one-party system, not a two-party system.
Exactly. So I want to ask you this. What do you think about Black people meeting with Donald Trump, like people like Kanye West and Jim Brown and Ray Lewis, and them getting criticism from the Black America about meeting with Donald Trump, the president-elect? What's your thoughts about that?
Marcus Garvey met with the Klan to see what they can come up with, to see what they can do to get along, and to see what can happen. Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam with Elijah Muhammad met with George Lincoln Rockwell, a Nazi Party leader, to meet. And actually, George Lincoln Rockwell went to their meetings. Went to their lectures and meetings to see how they are, and to basically see how the people in the Nation of Islam, and they've actually had a business together and actually talked back and forth. All right, so Black people complaining about this is very petty. Donald Trump is not even racist. I mean, to me anyway, but I mean, what I'm saying is, even if he is racist, okay, we've always had a history of meeting with the enemy, meeting with racists. I mean, we didn't say anything when Lyndon Baines Johnson signed 1964 and 1965, but the dude used to say nigger a lot and was basically not a big lover of Black people. We still got him to do things for us, so.
Yeah, you made some great, compelling points. George Lincoln Rockwell was the founder of the American Nazi Party, for folks who need to know. And he was actually a guest, and he did speak at Savior Days for the Nation of Islam. This is documented. And the Nation of Islam brought land from the Klan in places like Georgia.
Yes.
And they gave money to Marcus Garvey, the Klan did. So, I mean, these are great points. Politics made for strange bedfellows, and it's all about strategy. And also, it brings up a story. It's a good documentary called The Power Broker about Whitney Young, who was the president of the National Urban League during the Civil Rights movement or Civil Rights era. You know, he was known as good as being a connection for Black America to corporate white America, getting Black folks jobs in corporate America. And what he did was he became friends with presidents like Kennedy and Johnson. But when Nixon got into office, he was hesitant to meet with Nixon, but he did a presentation for Nixon anyway. And Richard Nixon was so impressed with Whitney Young and what he had to offer and what he had to say, he actually gave the National Urban League $28 million back in the early 70s, which was way more money than Kennedy and Johnson ever gave the Urban League.
Ever gave.
Right.
And Richard Nixon actually got 30%. I think got the highest percentage of the Black vote ever. Richard Nixon he still started drug war and he was still racist, but he did do a few good things for Black people, though. So
I mean, he started affirmative action while he started the war on drugs, so it's a double-edged sword. But no politician really does anything for nothing. They don't do it for moral benefits. They do it for the benefits of power. And my thing about Donald Trump, his daddy was a Klansman for sure. But my feeling is that all white folks are racist. And what I mean by racist, I mean you benefit from a system that benefits you, that puts your priorities and needs first. Now, there's some white people that they decent, they kind, they generous, but they still racist.
Okay.
And Black folks got to understand what that means. That means they are not willing to give up their privilege in a system that favors them. John Brown was willing to give up his privilege in a system that favors him. He was willing to not only sacrifice himself, but his family to try to liberate Black people from a system of white supremacy and racism. And when we say the word, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, when we say the word,
go ahead.
When we say white supremacy, this is what people gotta understand, because Black folks that have not been thoroughly educated, we've been bamboozled. White supremacy does not mean that white folks are superior in nature. It means a system created by white people to keep white people on top by any means necessary. White supremacy is a man-made system to benefit white folks, to keep them at the top, to make them priority by any means necessary. That's what we mean by white supremacy, at least on this platform. But go ahead.
But I want to ask you, is it okay if I ask you a question or try to argue a point, or you just asking the questions on this platform? You just ask a question.
You ask me a question. I can defend my point of view.
So basically, I see your perspective on that all white people are racist because this country was founded as a white country. I mean, I see your perspective on that. But what I'm saying is that even though this country was built for white people at one time, there was still Black success. There was still Marcus Garvey. There was still Madam C.J. Walker. There was still George Washington Carver. There were still Black people owning businesses, owning land, doing better than even white people within this country. Asians are dominating white people. Chinese and other groups are dominating them even within their own country. So what I'm saying is that if this country is just clearly just I mean, I'm talking about right now in 2016, why are Asians and other people doing better than them in their own country? And even back then, why did we have successes back then?
Well, Black people had success in spite of the system, not because of the system. We had it in spite of the system, not because we had support from the system. The people that you name had success in spite of, not because of the system being generous. We're like what Tupac said, who was recently inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and rightfully so. We are the rose that grew from concrete. We are the miracle. Black folks are the miracle people. We are the universal people. We are the spiritual people. We are the chosen people of the Bible. We are the people that nobody can explain. We are the magical people, but we are real. We can bleed, like Jesse Williams said. So I say all that to say is that you talk about the Chinese, you talk about the Asians that come over here. Keyword, they volunteered to come over here. Another thing, they had their identity intact. They know their mother tongue. They have a country of origin they can point to. They know their people. When you have your mother tongue, you have your cultural identity intact. They had everything intact for them to succeed. They understood that group success comes before anybody else's success. They know that white supremacy or economics or anything in this system is a team sport. They know they need each other. So they create networks. For example, a Chinese, whoever come over here, They could get a line of credit from not only their country, but also the country that they're coming to, America. They also have family members and stuff that pull their resources to invest in them. They're not telling them, when you go to America, go look for a job. No, when you go to America, go start a business. And when your business becomes successful, send back for other people to come over here. Send money back so we can do the same for other folks coming. They understand the power of groupthink when it comes to group economics and group empowerment. And black folks, we've been over here for generations upon generations. We still can't get loans. And we've been over here before there was America. See, black people are Americans, but we're not citizens. Black people should have a right, but we don't know our mother tongue. Identity was stolen. We don't know what tribe we're from in Africa. Africa is a continent with many countries and with people that lives in tribes. Got many tribes people. So we don't even have the head start that a lot of these folks got, but yet, in spite of the system being against us, we find a way to make it anyway. Because we are very resourceful people.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So yeah, but basically on that I believe that most slaves that came to America were from West Africa, were from that region. I believe that my ancestors in Liberia, I forgot which tribe I'm from, but my ancestors said Liberian. But yeah, I was saying that in spite of the system, yes, we've done well, we've done great things. But a lot of people are saying that since we are under the system, we can't do well or we can't do anything. That's what I've heard a lot of people say, or that because of integration, black people finally done something with their lives or had success in America. That's what I keep trying to tell people. As bad as America was even back then, in spite of that, and thank you for saying that, because that's what I meant. We have done well and done great things. But I mean, you're saying that that Asians are doing better because they're getting loans in America?
Yeah, they get support from the banks. We can't get a loan. It's funny, like even Malcolm understood this. You go fight in a land you could barely spell or pronounce. You go fight for Uncle Sam over there. You come back home all messed up and disabled. And the same folks that they call your enemy over there, they come over to America and they can start a business in your own neighborhood and you can't get a loan. But the GI Bill was the greatest piece of affirmative action in American history. It benefited white veterans. It never benefited black veterans. The black veterans didn't have the same access to the benefits of the GI Bill that the white veterans did. The white veterans were able to get home ownership, education, and start businesses because of the GI Bill. Imagine if the black GIs, like my grandfathers, had access to all the benefits of the GI Bill. Black America would be in a different situation in terms of wealth status today.
And the GI Bill was after World War II, correct?
Right, but it wasn't. And then what you got to understand about the GI Bill was a response not to World War II, but to the veterans who got pissed off at the government from World War I. The World War I veterans were promised things from the government never delivered. So they started the bonus army of the 1930s, which led to a slaughter of veterans in Washington, D.C., led by General Douglas MacArthur, whose assistants were Dwight D. Eisenhower and General Patton. They assisted General MacArthur in beating up and sabotaging and even murdering their own fellow soldiers because they wanted benefits that were promised to them after World War I. So the GI Bill is a result of what the soldiers from the bonus army did back in the 30s, and people need to look that up.
But also what people don't recognize is, yes, the GI Bill did things like that, but I don't think that every single white person in America benefited because there's still poor people here. But what I'm saying, if the government gives you something, you have to give something back to them. So I can guarantee you that even though they've got some benefits, they got some business, I guarantee you that something happened to them or they had to give something up, or the government either taxed them to such a high rate that they had to give something up for them to get those benefits. So it comes with a price too.
Well, I just tell you what the price was. The bonus army was the sacrifice that was made for the GI Bill. That was the blood sacrifice. The bonus army disaster in D.C. back in the 30s.
Taxation is theft, by the way. I just want to say that taxation is theft. Screw Woodrow Wilson and the Federal Reserve.
Well, black folks shouldn't be paying no taxes because we're not citizens. Period.
But go ahead.
No, what I'm saying, black folks should not be paying taxes because we're not citizens. They've never been really cleared up. The Constitution's called us 3/5. We've never been commodity, stock to be traded, livestock, property, contraband during the Civil War, anything but American citizen. That's why we get the mistreatment that we get. We don't own anything. We don't have citizenship status. Excuse me.
I mean, we don't. I agree that we don't own a lot of things. I think we own things and own real estate. We would have more power, but I mean, but citizens are allowed to own and are allowed to have property rights, though.
What's eminent domain? What's eminent domain?
I'm sorry?
Eminent domain, what's that?
I don't know. Please tell me.
Eminent domain is when the government can take your shit without your permission. They'll give you, like, I guess, something for it, but not really the value of your property. They can come in, you can pay mortgage and everything, taxes be, up to date on your property. And they can say, we want this property for the VA building that we want to build. And you say, well, I've been paying for it. I've been living here for 30, 40 years. We don't give a damn. We'll give you some money and we're going to force you out. So do you really own anything in the system that can do that to you? They can just eminent domain your stuff right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Now seize your property. Yeah.
I know people do that. I just didn't know the term of what that meant. I know that people give people money and basically ship them out if they want them out. So I didn't know the term, what that meant. I knew that was going on, but I didn't know the term. So I apologize.
No, you don't apologize. It's cool, man. We all learn. I learned something from you. We all each one teach one. But like Joe Louis paid the government $1 million, they destroyed Joe Louis. He was a good so-called patriot, the great heavyweight boxer. He gave away tickets. He even gave the government $1 million, and the IRS destroyed Joe Louis.
Like I said, I mean, like I keep saying, there needs to be somewhere for a 10% tax, and the IRS needs to be disbanded. And that's what happens when you give government too much power. That's because of your Federal Reserve, the IRS. And I've heard that some people upstairs are trying to get rid of it because the Federal Reserve and taxation is staffed, and that's why we have eminent domain. So that shouldn't even exist. But to the loan thing, about why we can't create businesses, you do know that Black people as a whole have a $1.1 trillion consumership.
Yeah, the reason why we have that because we the one that they got such a low self-esteem as a collective. It's consumer capitalism. The people who consume the most feel bad about themselves in the system.
And a lot of people say that's just credit, that's just debt, it's this, that, and the third. And that's not even just Black people in general. That's not, and we don't have to just go there. We can go with the Black church, which accumulates at least $1 billion by itself. So what I'm saying is that you can say there's debt and all this, but if we use that money or credit for investments or buying stock or trying to get real estate, we can get that money back and probably pay off that debt or pay off anything else and actually have solutions to help us out. But if we get the government involved in certain things, then we're in a world of hurt. And the perfect example of that is the Native Americans, who right now do win their cases, do get billions of dollars, do get casinos, but they still want to put a pipeline on their land.
Think about debt. Yeah, you're right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying think about debt. It's a such thing as good debt versus bad debt. It's like good cholesterol versus bad cholesterol. All debt is not bad debt. Sometimes you need debt to run a business. Debt is necessary in order to hold this damn thing together. America's in trillions of dollars of debt. But it's still. And the thing about it is with the Native Americans or anybody, this system is not set up for you to win. Like with the pipeline thing, the pipeline originally supposed to ran through Bismarck, a majority white town. And the town did not want it in their town because they knew it could pose an environmental threat to their drinking water. So they shipped the pipeline to the Native American reservation. And America is notorious for breaking their treaties, for not honoring their contracts. Like America supposed to gave former enslaved Africans 40 acres of the mule and took it back. We had immigrants coming from Europe, got acres of land under Lincoln and them.
Mm-hmm.
So America is not good at honoring her debts. Is why she got the problem she got now.
Right, but I'm just saying that if we're trying to expect any big thing from them, they're always gonna bite our butt right in the butt. If something is gonna happen underlying, or we'll get betrayed. So I mean, that's just my point about trusting in the government or trying to get something from them or trying to get loans from them, because something is going to happen on the backside which is not going to benefit us.
Right. Only reason that happens because people are not vigilant. They're not as proactive as we need to be in terms of doing stuff. Like you even look at the healthcare situation. Obamacare is not really a bad idea. It's a Republican idea. Bob Dole had that idea when he ran back in 1996. Mitt Romney instituted that idea when he was governor of Massachusetts, for the state of Massachusetts. The problem with Obamacare
He
is
did.
the problem with Obamacare is insurance premiums. The insurance companies are killing Obamacare. It should have been single payer from the get go. The government should subsidize medical benefits for Americans like they do for the veterans and senior citizens. And another thing about that is the fact that the largest healthcare provider is Aetna. Aetna made its fortune selling life insurance policies to slave owners on their slaves. So Aetna should be supplying everybody, especially black folks, with free healthcare.
Yeah, or just government funded healthcare is a bad idea by any stretch of the wing. I mean, government funded anything is just, you can't trust anything that they do. Police, roads, military, but in your healthcare, that's just a big no. At least that's my thoughts. But
No, I don't think so. I don't agree with you on that. I disagree with you on
all right,
that. Because the government is the reason why we have national parks. That's a good thing. The national park system is a great thing. There are benefits to having a government in terms of taking care of infrastructure. What this government has not been allowed to do for 8 years because of Republican obstruction in the Congress have not allowed President Obama to take care of infrastructure. We're gonna pay for that with the bridges and the power grids and whatnot in the upcoming years. But government is good for some things, and they should make healthcare single payer because that should be a human right that everybody in this country have healthcare, particularly when the government poisons the ecosystem. With the oil companies poisoning the ecosystem of the Gulf Coast,
mm-hmm.
we have a right to health care. When you got uh, children growing up generations and generations with asthma because of a Chevron oil refinery in Richmond, California, they should subsidize and have health care. When you have military plants in poor black neighborhoods where folks are getting generations upon generations of cancer, you should have government funded health care. That's very vital. But people are not aware. It's like Stokely Carmichael or Kwame Ture once said, to paraphrase him, black folks are not poor. We are poorly organized. We're not poor. We are poorly organized. We're not aware of what's going on and how to respond accordingly.
Right, but I want to explain because you said that because of Republican blockage that he's not getting anything done. I want to go over the things that he has gotten done, even at his 8 years, and also explain about government funded health care. Um, Republicans didn't block the $1 trillion stimulus that failed. They didn't block the passage of Obamacare. They didn't pass the passage of Dodd-Frank. They didn't freeze business, because that's what Dodd-Frank did. They froze businesses. They didn't block from the de facto amnesty of illegal immigration. They didn't block him destroying the coal industry to favor green energy. And he simply used his pen to have executive orders on all these things.
I mean, yeah, he signed a lot of executive orders, over 261 executive orders to date. But the Republicans did say, like Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Republicans in the Senate, that they're going to do whatever they can to make him an unsuccessful president.
And they failed.
Yeah, but like, if you don't, the way the media paint it, see what I'm saying? Like, people, a lot of us are low information people. We don't have a lot of information to go on when we go voting. And that's by design a lot of times. But you got the internet that kind of leverage the playing field if you know how to utilize it. But a lot of people ain't gonna see it that way, because people are not just black folks are emotional. White folks are emotional right now.
You're right.
I always tell
They're the
people
main. Go ahead.
I said white folks vote their fears and black folks vote their hopes. But go ahead.
But a lot of these people who are protesting against Donald Trump, the Michael Moores, are a bunch of white cucks who are cowards and pussies, and they fear Donald Trump so much, but they were fine with Bush, or they were fine with Obama droning people, because actually Obama actually has the most deportations of any president at the moment. But they want it. Yeah, it's actually been proven. Even though I actually do agree with deportations of illegal immigrants. But people fear Trump so terrible, and actually trying to go protest his inauguration. So it's all hypocrites. I mean, but yeah, I mean a lot of white people were scared more than black people when Trump got elected, which was fascinating.
Yeah, but Trump is a mirror to America. Just like America, Trump does not believe in paying the folks who helped build his organization. America has not compensated the enslaved Africans nor their descendants. And we know we're not citizenship and we're not geared for reparations because of what the U.S. Supreme Court Justice, the chief of the U.S. Supreme Court Justice Roger Taney, said about the Dred Scott decision. He said that these enslaved Africans nor their descendants have any rights that a white man is bound to respect. We don't have to compensate you for any damn thing, let alone make you a citizen. And that's still true in 2016, going to 2017.
Now we're at a spicy topic right now. Now we're at the reparations topic, and you just mentioned Dred Scott. So I want to ask you a question. Do you think that every single black man and woman in America needs reparations, or just the black people went through Jim Crow?
That's a good question. I would say if you are classified black in this system and you have experienced mistreatment, every black person should get compensated. Because white supremacy is a global system. And the slave trade was international. It was an international thing.
Right. So what I'll say is that I think every black person who went through Jim Crow needs it. I think every black person who has been through the criminal justice system, who's been unfairly treated, whether it's being in death row, whether it's being in prison and they didn't do anything or didn't do the crime, should be compensated on what they went through. So I mean, of course, but my perspective on the reparations situation is that basically that's my main perspective. But as far as giving every single person who's black in this country that, I disagree with that, only because, like I keep trying to tell people, if the government is giving you something, they're going to want something back, and they're going to keep screwing you over if you keep asking them or if you keep trying to give them. Just like Dr. Clyde Anderson is trying to sue the U.S. government for action against them. I think if you want to do this the best thing is to go to private companies that have benefited from slavery and things of that nature. But I'm just saying, if we're giving reparations, something is going to happen on the backdrop. It's not going to be to our benefit for the majority of us.
I mean,
some of us it will, not for the majority. Yeah,
you're dealing with the devil. You can expect that, but you got to also be prepared and come correct with yours. Know that you got to have a backup plan, another strategy. Show one hand, but be doing something with the other hand like they be doing. Learn military science. Because in the day, nobody can save you but you. You got to do for self to save self.
Understandable.
And when people make a mistake is you come from a position of weakness, nobody won't respect you, including yourself. Nobody respects a person that comes from a position of weakness. Nobody. You might have sympathy for them or charity, but you never get the proper respect. Come from strength. Like Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without demand. When you demand something, you coming from a strength. Not a position of fear or cowardice, but of strength and justice and truth and ethics. Just like white folks benefit from white supremacy, even the poor ones. A lot of them lack knowledge of self. But white folks choose to be a certain way, and a lot of white people that we think are white are not really white people. They're not the real white people that run the system. They new whites.
I love the way you just said that. New whites.
Yeah.
New whites.
So we gotta start looking at this stuff a little bit more complex than we've been dealing with, and that means it's gonna take some research and studying, and also creative brainstorming. We need black think tanks. We need a strong black media president in this era. We got 35,000 black folks who are multimillionaires or better. There's no excuse why we don't have a prominent black think tank or prominent black lobbyists that support a black agenda. That's supported by black finances. They could be anonymous.
And we shouldn't be giving 90% of our vote to one freaking party. We should be 50-50 or 50-50 or 50-40 or 10. Like, there should be black people who are libertarian, black people who are conservative, black people who are liberal, but still maintain that they are black and they want to produce a black agenda. So,
yeah, well, black person, don't care what your political leanings are. You should not be loyal to any one political party, period.
Mm-hmm.
Or even ideology. We should be loyal to a black agenda that we all agree upon. That the people that we support must adopt our black agenda. I don't care what party affiliation they got. Donald Trump was a Democrat most of his life. He's not really a conservative ideologue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so we don't know what he's going to do when he get in office. We don't know what he's really going to do.
To me, he's a cultural libertarian, meaning he's socially liberal but fiscally conservative. That's what I see him as, pretty much.
See, that's interesting you say that, because you look at, he got in debt, filed for bankruptcy several times. He's like a Ronald Reagan. Is he really fiscally conservative?
Yes, he is. And because 90% of small business fall anyway, so the fact that he's even worth, I believe, $1.2 billion and he can sustain some of his businesses is remarkable. But yeah, that's what a lot of people do. If they fail in something or get in bankruptcy, they use that for the tax incentive.
Right.
That is a tax incentive.
And he never was personally bankrupt. It's just his business became bankrupt 4 or 5
businesses.
times. Right. So you understand how the system works, and that will frustrate a lot of black folks. We don't understand how this shit works to our advantage. That's what we need to start studying right now while we got this Trumpgeist going on. Cause I think a lot of black folks could benefit from this era if we come with some creative problem solving and do our homework and research and learn how to apply the knowledge that we accumulate. We could be very successful.
Yeah. And invest in certain stocks or invest in certain things so we can all benefit from this and stop trying to look at this as he's just this terrible, evil person.
Exactly.
And try to benefit from his presence. Because a lot of people can benefit from this if he's actually going to do the stuff he's saying he's going to do. But there are, stocks are going up, things are looking pretty up, jobs are coming back. So there is some advantage right now, but we have to see what happens in the next 4 years. But I'm feeling like there's going to be some crazy stuff that's going to happen in a good way. So
yeah, because it's already going on now. You got to understand. Then you got to ask you a question. You just said the stocks are doing well. What is it that the 1% know that we don't know about Donald Trump?
I know the 1% hate him. It seems like they hate him.
Well, if the stocks they don't. I don't think they hate him because they seem like they like him because the stocks are doing well. They allow him to become president. They allowed him to become president.
Wait. Now it's another thing. How did they allow him when the entire mainstream media was going against him, and he wasn't funded by the Bilderberg or Goldman Sachs? He wasn't backed by them. He has somebody who used to work for Goldman Sachs in his administration, but how come the entire media and newspaper went on an all-out war against him?
I wouldn't say the entire one. They're trying to do a Hillary thing, but the thing about it is Donald Trump got some powerful people in the 1% that's for him as well. You don't know it. They move in the silence. They move in the shadows. Like I always tell people, when a president dies, look at the room. And all the people that are standing next to the people that you know about, the people you don't know in that room are the most powerful people. They the power brokers. They the real shadow government. They really run the things. They pull the strings. So Donald Trump got certain people in his corner, like his pick for Secretary of Education. Her brother is Eric Prince, the founder of Blackwater security firm.
Mm-hmm.
And he's an interesting character. And his sister, who's the pick for Secretary of Education, her father-in-law is the founder of M.I.A. And I believe they own the Orlando Magic basketball team. So you got a cabinet full of billionaires. So he don't got a cabinet, he got a board of directors. So big business is behind Donald Trump. They like
he's trying to run the country like a business, essentially, which is
the country is a corporation.
Before, yeah.
No, country is not. It's a republic. It's a corporation. It's not democracy.
Constitutional republic.
If you say so, but corporation nonetheless is a business.
Yes.
You know, America is big business. It's a brand. So he run it like you said, like his businesses. So this is America. It's a mirror. Donald Trump is a mirror image of America at this moment in history.
But I'm saying that because he has I don't think he has really any neocons. I think he has John Bolton as somebody who is in the backdrop, but a Secretary of State is ExxonMobil. You know, I'm just saying he is doing politics differently, but he's not doing it. He's doing it differently, but I mean, by him not having a neocons, because there were Republicans and Democrats going against him. There was an entire Never Trump movement going against him. All right. So I'm just saying that you know, they made shows, they made episodes. The media did go on. I mean, I'm not paraphrasing this. I mean, if you look at any of the WikiLeaks emails or look at the TV show Saturday Night Live, you know, cartoons comparing him to Hitler. I mean, they did go on an all-out war to try to make this man not president. All of Hollywood endorsed him. Okay, it's in the pudding. It's in the pudding. I mean, I've never seen this much opposition. I don't even think Obama got this much opposition as president.
But maybe towards the latter part, towards the end, when they saw he could actually win. But at the beginning, he got a lot of great press from the media. That's the reason why he won the primary. He didn't have to spend that much campaign money. So it's fair and balanced, like Fox. At first, they gave him all the media because he was good for ratings. CNN made a lot of money campaigning Donald Trump this term. They made a whole lot of money. Fox News, but I'm saying they were pro Donald Trump at first. They were pushing him because they thought he was a clown, a court jester. Donald Trump probably thought he would never win. He just doing it for his marketing. You know what I'm saying? But then all of a sudden, he gets the primary. He said, "I can win it. Let me go ahead and win," because Donald Trump.
Right, because they were trying to destroy him by using the media against him. But but originally in 2015, 2014, the media was pretty much trying to gin up Jeb Bush versus Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, but the people got tired of that. We tired of Bush Clinton.
Yes.
They're going around.
We are.
You know, it's bull crap. Hey, they not good for the country, but.
And Jeb Bush actually spent $200 million in the primaries, but he still didn't win a dang state. So that's
good. And that means that people are waking up slowly to the Bush regime and the Clinton regime.
And regime.
Yeah. People tired of that now. It's not they passed their prime now. There's no more Bushes and Clinton's gonna be in the White House. But this Trump thing is very interesting. I'm looking forward to see how it plays out over the next term.
But we also have to see, because a lot of people are making comparisons to him and John F. Kennedy, and I'm just hoping that he can be an 8-year president and maybe do the same things that John F. Kennedy could have done, but be alive and in doing it, because the powers that be do want to go after him, in my opinion.
Oh, well, people are pushing that because people have been predicted, programming, and manipulated. He's not going to be a JFK. You know what I'm saying? First of all, he's more Reagan. He's more Reagan than JFK.
Okay.
You know, he's old. First of all, Reagan was 69 when he got in the office, and I think Donald Trump right now is 72 or something like that. So that's pretty long in the tooth already. And, you know, he's a celebrity like Ronald Reagan was, a B-list or C-list celebrity, whatever. But I wish no ill will towards the president. I hope that, you know, whatever God has in store for him, he fulfill it. And I also hope that my people, black people, learn how to take advantage of the situation and stop looking for handouts and a hand up and just help yourself. Do for self. The Elijah Muhammad told us, do for self. That's a biblical
Exactly.
thing. Do for self. See what happens. So when you do for yourself, you take care of everybody else.
And faith without works is dead. So you can pray and do things all day, but if you don't do any work, nothing's going to come to you.
Exactly. So I'm gonna ask you before I guess we can wrap up almost. I'm gonna ask you about the Black Lives Matter situation. We got these situations with the malls and whatnot, and people are blaming it on Black Lives Matter. From my understanding, that they caused some of the ruckus going on in these malls, including a couple malls in Memphis. And it's what your thoughts about it right now, considering that we're going into a new era.
I am not a supporter of Black Lives Matter. I never will be. It's not a pro-black men movement. It's more pro-black women, transgender, and LGBT. But I don't think we should be blaming every single little thing when black people do some crap on Black Lives Matter. That's the one thing I do agree with Tariq Nasheed, that the media keeps trying to paint everybody as Black Lives Matter. At the same time, if there is proof that there are Black Lives Matter people who started this or who were in it, we have to look at this movement and look at it as controlled opposition to make people look at our issues and basically say that we're just crying wolf, or say that, okay, you're supposed to be a pro-black movement and supposed to be against white supremacy and racism, but you're backed by George Soros. You know. So I mean, I know I've saw some articles about that, but regardless, these riots shouldn't even happen. You know, these are just young kids just doing some bull crap. They shouldn't be doing this. They should be, trying to learn trade and trying to go to school. But, it's bad.
I want to thank you for that input. We definitely have to take up that issue about Black Lives Matter on a later show. But I don't think you, Brother Chad Factor, for spending so much time and your insight and your gifts with us today on the We All Be radio show. Can you tell us once again what's the best way to reach out to you and to hear your show?
Yes, sir. You can reach me on Twitter. My link to the show is on Twitter, at my Twitter, The Chad Factor, TheChadFactor. You can also go on WordPress and look up The Chad Factor, thechadfactor.com, link to my show, or just go on TalkShoe.com, go in the search engine, type in The Chad Factor, and you can go on there too.
Thank you, Brother Chad. In the words of Great to Gelton, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing, and Happy New Year, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.